if you felt like the world just hit a new speed limit right at the turn of the year.
Or maybe just broke it completely.
Right. That stretch between late December 2025, early January 2026, it was just staggering, the sheer velocity of it all.
It really was. It felt like the future arrived all at once. We've gone through a massive stack of sources for you here.
Everything from financial reports to disaster tallies.
Exactly. And some really surprising cultural and biological insights, too. The whole mission is to cut through that noise, that intensity, and just give you the context you need.
And I think our starting point today just perfectly captures that incredible speed. It's actually hinted at in the title of one of the core documents we looked at.
An incredible journey from Wuhan to Singapore.
Yes. And that phrase, as you're about to hear, really encapsulates the explosive velocity of this new generation of AI startups. Okay, let's unpack this.
So where do we begin?
I think we have to start with Meta's acquisition of Manus, the AI startup out of Singapore.
Late December. The price tag alone is something else.
They're saying the estimate is what? Somewhere between $2 and $4 billion, which is huge, but the timeline is the real story here.
It is. What's genuinely fascinating is just how quickly Manus went from zero to this multi-billion-dollar valuation.
And the founder, Xiao Hong, he had a track record, right?
A pretty significant one. He started out in Wuhan, built these really popular education tools for, millions of students. Then he created the Monica browser extension, which was also a huge success.
But Manus itself, a $100 million revenue run rate in just 9 months.
9 months, and then acquired only 10 months after they even went public.
So with that kind of speed and that price tag, was there any skepticism in the market? Was this Meta just overpaying, defensive move to take a threat off the board?
I think it was seen as a very clear strategic move. Meta wasn't just buying code, They were buying a massive head start in the race for true autonomous agents.
And that was Manus' specialty.
Yeah.
General purpose agents.
That's it. And their secret weapon was what they called a vibe-coded approach, using cloud-based virtual machines.
Hold on, vibe-coded. That sounds a lot like Silicon Valley marketing speak. What does that actually mean?
It does sound abstract, I'll give you that. But it's actually really powerful. It means the agent isn't just operating on these rigid, step-by-step rules. It works on a kind of self-correcting intuition about the desired end state.
A vibe.
The vibe, exactly. So it can execute these really complex multi-step tasks, things like detailed research or even writing and then executing its own code without a human micromanaging it.
So they didn't just answer questions, they took action.
They took autonomous action, and that's what Meta was paying top dollar for, that capability.
Okay, so if that deal was all about speed and autonomy, the next one we looked at was more about strategic depth. Anyone following the semiconductor market? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The NVIDIA and Grok deal.
$20 billion. And this one was just a masterclass in corporate maneuvering.
How so?
Well, NVIDIA acquired Grok's core assets and talent, but they structured it as a reverse acquihire.
A reverse acquihire.
Yeah, so they could license Grok's groundbreaking language processing unit, the LPU technology, immediately.
So it was a clever legal and financial way to get that tech integrated right away without the lengthy antitrust reviews you'd get with a full takeover.
Exactly, a huge shortcut.
But does that set a risky precedent for future mergers? And I guess more importantly, what made Grok's LPU worth $20 billion in the first place?
The LPU is it's fundamentally different. It was built software first by Jonathan Ross, who actually co-invented the TPU when he was at Google.
Okay.
And this deal, it validates that the future of silicon isn't just about making chips smaller, it's about eliminating unpredictability. And Grok's secret weapon, their real differentiator, was using the functional programming language Haskell.
Haskell, I know that one. It's known for being incredibly dense, very mathematical.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And using Haskell is what ensured the mathematical determinism for their chips. Essentially, the software guarantees the hardware will perform exactly as predicted every single time. No deviation.
And that's what lets them get those record-breaking inference speeds.
That's the key. So this $20 billion move really sets a new priority for the entire hardware race. Software-defined, deterministic performance.
All right, so let's move from that virtual world of AI agents and deterministic chips to the physical world of autonomy. We saw these parallel breakthroughs and just seismic market shifts in the auto industry right at the end of the year.
We really did, and we saw a huge technological milestone finally get hit.
You're talking about the coast-to-coast trip.
Yes. David Moss, a Tesla owner, completed what a lot of people were calling the holy grail of self-driving. A zero-intervention trip coast-to-coast in his Model 3.
Los Angeles to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Under 3 days, and he never touched the wheel. Or the pedals. I remember Elon Musk predicting that way back in 2016.
He did. And the system handled everything. Complex city streets, tricky interchanges, and crucially, it managed all 30 supercharger stops completely on its own.
It even parked itself at the chargers.
Yes, autonomous parking and charging. It's just a massive technical win. It shows the huge leap their neural network AI has taken.
So Tesla wins the technical race, the look no hands moment, but the market showed a very, very different picture.
And that's the irony, isn't it? In 2025, the Chinese automaker BYD officially dethroned Tesla as the world's top seller of pure battery electric vehicles.
And it wasn't even close.
Not even close. Give us the numbers on that.
Okay, so BYD delivered a record 2.26 million pure EVs. That's a 28% increase year over year.
And Tesla?
Tesla's sales actually fell, down 9% to 1.64 million. It just proves that at the end of the day, consumers care more about price and reliability than these big technical milestones.
And BYD's success really comes down to their vertical integration. They control the whole supply chain from the battery materials all the way up.
Plus, they have a much more diverse lineup of models, and they've been so aggressive expanding into Europe, Southeast Asia.
Right, and if you add in their hybrids, BYD's total sales, it's a staggering 4.6 million vehicles.
The speed of tech development on one side versus the sheer volume of manufacturing and market capture on the other, it's a perfect snapshot of the global economy right now.
Definitely.
Now let's go even higher, literally up into orbit. SpaceX announced a pretty significant reconfiguration for Starlink.
Yeah, this is a big deal for space management. They're planning to lower about 4,400 satellites, which is almost half their current fleet.
Lower them from 550 kilometers down to 400.
And this was apparently prompted by an incident back in December 2025. A malfunctioning unit created some debris.
So why lower them? Doesn't that make them more vulnerable in some way?
It actually does the opposite.
Yeah.
It enhances safety. First, it moves them into a less congested orbital shell. But the main reason is about liability and sustainability.
How so?
At 480 kilometers, the atmospheric drag is a lot stronger. So if a satellite fails, that drag will naturally pull it down, and it will burn up in the atmosphere in months.
Instead of years.
Instead of years. It's a proactive solution to the growing problem of space junk.
So we're seeing these amazing breakthroughs in AI, in self-management, in orbit. But what happens when that speed and complexity collides with the older, slower, and often failing infrastructure of the physical world?
That contrast was painfully clear over the holidays.
It was. New Year's Day, we saw that tragic fire and what they called a flashover explosion at the Constellation Bar in Crans, Montana.
In Swiss ski resort. Horrific. At least 40 people died during the celebrations.
And it really highlights this tragic failure of oversight, something that's totally invisible until disaster strikes. What was the cause?
Investigators believe it was sparklers. Sparklers used on champagne bottles ignited this highly flammable acoustic foam that was lining the ceiling and walls.
Which led to a flashover.
A near-instantaneous flashover. That's where all the surfaces in a room ignite at the same time because of the intense heat. It led to mass panic, a fatal crowd surge. Just awful. Switzerland declared 5 days of national mourning.
And we saw similar vulnerabilities in our critical systems all over the world. December 27th, that massive gas leak near Castaic in LA.
Right, which shut down the I-5 freeway. That was a high-pressure, 34-inch transmission line that ruptured. It forced almost 20,000 residents to shelter in place.
Witnesses said the roar was like a jet engine.
A continuous jet engine. Just a terrifying reminder of the vulnerability sitting right in the middle of a massive city. And officials think it was caused by land movement and mudslides from all the recent heavy rains.
So you see how climate-driven events are now directly threatening our critical infrastructure.
Absolutely. And then just a few days later, December 30th, the other chaos in the Channel Tunnel.
Thousands of travelers trapped for hours. Damaged overhead electrical cables caused a huge power failure.
Which culminated in that harrowing undersea evacuation. Passengers had to get out and walk through the Central Service Tunnel to reach rescue shuttles. It just underlines how dependent we are on these single aging points of failure.
And the financial cost of all this.
Yeah.
The vulnerability, the extreme weather. It's just staggering.
Christian Aid put a number on it. Over $120 billion in global economic losses in 2025, just from climate-driven extreme weather.
And the single biggest factor was the Palisades and Eaton wildfires in California.
$60 billion in damage right there. Over 400 deaths. Then you have another $25 billion in losses from the cyclones and floods that hit Southeast Asia.
And the reports are clear on this.
They are. The sources say these disasters are the predictable result of continued fossil fuel expansion and political delay.
But amidst all that, the cost, the failures,
Yeah.
we found this incredible counter-narrative, a really beautiful triumph of conservation from the natural world.
We did. We're talking about the extraordinary sighting of an Amur tigris.
With a litter of 5 cubs.
5 cubs. In the Northeast China Tiger and Leopard National Park. This was recorded just before the new year, and it's just a monumental victory for conservation.
And litters of 5 are extremely rare, aren't they? I thought the typical litter was more like 1 to 4.
Exactly. WWF China called it extremely rare. This 9-year-old tigress and her 5 healthy cubs, it's just irrefutable proof that decades of habitat protection are working.
Using all this advanced tech like camera traps, eDNA tracking.
All of it. The Amur tiger population in that region is now up to around 70. Back in the 1930s, it was fewer than 30. It's a powerful sign of nature rebounding when we actually give it a chance.
All right, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about science and culture. And we can start with a challenge to the integrity of knowledge itself, which ironically links right back to our AI discussion.
Right. A major article in Nature highlighted this profound new concern, the sheer number of AI-generated peer review reports.
So AI is writing the critiques of scientific papers now.
Yes, and they're getting so sophisticated that current AI detection tools just can't reliably tell them apart from human-written ones.
That feels like a fundamental threat. I mean, if peer review, the quality control for all of science, can be faked by an AI, how can you trust anything that's being published?
It's a huge problem. Submission rates are skyrocketing, human reviewers are totally overwhelmed, and the unchecked use of AI here just threatens to dilute accountability. It erodes the credibility of the entire system.
Which leads us directly to the immense value we place on authenticated knowledge. And moving from the very new to the wonderfully old, the literary world was celebrating the donation of an incredibly rare Lewis Carroll artifact.
Yes, to the University of Oxford. It was Lewis Carroll's personal, suppressed 1865 first edition of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Suppressed.
The illustrator, John Tenniel, wasn't happy with the print quality, so they pulled it. Only 23 copies of that original printing are known to survive.
And this specific copy gives us this incredible insight into the author's process.
It really does. It was Carroll's own working copy, so it has 10 original pencil sketches by Tenniel in it. And crucially, Carroll's own handwritten notes for the book he published later, The Nursery Alice.
So it's a physical, untainted record of creativity, the exact opposite of the synthetic knowledge that we were just talking about.
A perfect contrast.
Shifting over to global entertainment, Katy Perry made a huge splash, performing at Bilibili's New Year's Eve gala in China.
A massive splash. It's China's biggest youth celebration, and her performance peaked at an astronomical 350 million live viewers worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah. She has this enduring star power with Gen Z in China. They even have an affectionate nickname for her.
Which means?
Fruit Sister.
Fruit Sister.
I love it.
Okay, just a few more fascinating historical and cultural bits we pulled from the sources. I loved the piece on the artist Wu Zoren.
Ah, yes, a giant of 20th century Chinese art. He was famous for successfully fusing traditional Chinese ink painting with Western oil techniques.
And his iconic work often features the Tibetan yak.
That's right. It was inspired by his travels in 1943. He used this very bold Western style of brushwork to capture the animal's potent spirit, as he called it. It was meant to symbolize endurance and a kind of national strength.
And on the sports front, a painful end to the cyclocross season for Wout van Aert.
Ah, it was brutal. A crash in a snowstorm at the exact cross mall. He ended up with an ankle fracture that needed immediate surgery.
And that was it. Season over.
Season over. Just like that. It was a cruel reminder of how quickly things can change in sports.
We also saw that, well, controversial Battle of the Sexes exhibition match. Nick Kyrgios beat Arina Sabalenka.
Right, but Sabalenka had to play on a court that was 9% smaller, and they were both only allowed a single serve.
The whole setup was immediately divisive. People were calling it a cheap gimmick.
Yeah, a lot of critics felt that instead of celebrating competitive balance, the weird rules just underscored physical disparities. It didn't have the cultural weight of the original 1973 match at all.
And finally, let's mark a moment in history. January 3rd is the anniversary of what is, arguably the most consequential sale in American sports.
It has to be. That was the day in 1920 that the Boston Red Sox sold Babe Ruth's contract to the New York Yankees.
And that trade kicked off 86 years of heartache for Boston, the curse of the Bambino.
While the Yankees went on to win 26 World Series titles, it fundamentally reshaped the American sports landscape for a century.
So if we pull back and look at everything we've covered, the central contrast is it's so stark. You have the exponential growth and speed of AI and autonomous tech, that incredible journey from Wuhan to Singapore.
Coexisting with these severe, dangerous vulnerabilities in our physical world. Gas lines, tunnels, the overwhelming burden of climate events.
So what does this all mean for you?
Well, we've seen humanity using this cutting-edge tech AI, satellite data, eDNA, to achieve incredible new things, from completing a zero-intervention cross-country drive to successfully protecting a rare Amur tigress and her huge litter. Technology is revealing the world's complexities faster than ever.
You've just cut through a week of incredibly dense global headlines. You've connected billion-dollar tech deals to real human risk and amazing biological marvels. You have the context now.
And here's something to mull over. We learned today that AI tools are helping usher in a golden age of species discovery, identifying over 16,000 new species every year.
But at the very same time, we've learned that those exact same AI tools are now threatening the integrity and the credibility of human scientific peer review.
So is the same technology that helps us discover the richness of the Earth also poised to fundamentally undermine the trust we place in the knowledge we create about it? Something to think about until our next deep dive.